Today on This Week in Startups, we have a tank full of entrepreneurs on another Shark Tank TAKEOVER. It's the How to Do a Perfect Pitch episode. Tyler Crowley and I have sat through over 400 pitches for the TechCrunch 50 conference and for Open Angel Forum in the last 4 years. Today, we're going to tell you all of our secrets on a very special This Week in Startups right now.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. It's episode number 102. 102. Wow, we are cruising. And if you guys don't know, we have a very cool YouTube page now because we're part of their shows. I guess they have shows as well as just user accounts. Right. So, like, I'm Jason I'm YouTube/Jason Calacanis. But that's not a show with episodes.
They're going to treat you different if you're producing every week and
lots of shows,
as opposed to the person who's just
uploading pictures of their cat. Right. So anyway, if you go to youtube.com/thisweekin, you'll see this amazing interface they have for all of the 20 plus This Week in shows and the episode guide. And then they have a little tab to go over to clips. And we're actually starting to clip. We clipped 2 or 3 really interesting clips. Producer Rob pulled from the episode of Evernote, who was on. And what a great episode that was, huh?
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do is pull the nuggets from the episode. So if you have favorite nuggets in the episode, you should pull this clip, and we'll pull it and we'll put it in there, and we'll give you credit for suggesting it.
Used Evernote twice since the episode, doing business cards. I'm stacking multiple business cards, like I was in a meeting.
Yeah.
The best thing ever. You get the 4 business cards from the meeting.
Yep.
Lay them all down.
Take a picture.
Snap, one shot.
Amazing.
Tagged.
Yeah.
Boom.
What a great episode.
Love it.
So, lots of holiday stuff going on. You getting all your Christmas shopping done, I take it?
Amazon.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I just give everybody a gift certificate. What's the point of going to a store and dealing with all the nudnicks when they're running?
That's eBay's running an ad, and in the ad it's like singing a Christmas jingle, and it's like, why mess with all the malls and the...
It's the most repulsive thing you can do is to go out shopping during the holiday. I hate it. People shoving each other. It's like this desperation. And I always tell my family, don't get me anything. I always tell people who want to get me gifts, don't get me anything. Give some donation to charity or whatever, and then I give them all cash. I put cash in an envelope.
That's Chinese style.
I'm
red
very...
envelope thing?
Yeah, I just basically give cash.
The weird part to me is that
my brothers or my niece and nephew.
You know it's going to be cheaper the day after Christmas. That's the part that kills me.
That's true, actually. That's really good.
The 25%. You know what? Hanukkah 2015 occurs after Christmas. They are going to kill it.
Unbelievable.
Because they move it around the day. Hanukkah moves.
Yeah.
In relation to Christmas. 2015, it's after Christmas.
Is it really?
Yeah. So they're going to get all those crazy deals. It's going to be incredible.
Oh, God dang it. Christians get screwed again, huh? Hey, thanks to Mailchimp for supporting the program and for helping me with the launch newsletter, Jason Nation. They're sending out to tens of thousands of people multiple times a week for me, and it is bulletproof. And you know what I love about Mailchimp? I'll have somebody say, hey, at Jason, I didn't get the newsletter. It happened twice in whatever number of months since I've been doing it. And they just respond. And they don't even see Mailchimp in the headline. They just respond because they know that I have my newsletter. They go and they fix it and they figure out what it is. Because sometimes it's all kinds of little things, that could get an individual, could have us in their spam filter or whatever. But boy, am I getting delivery rates like I have never seen. And Mailchimp's group has now announced a $1 million integration fund. It's just like Y Combinator. You say, hey, I got an idea. I'm a technical guy. I think I should take Mailchimp and put it with blank. Right. I want to make a Facebook interface for it. I want to make a wireless interface for it. I want to make an Android interface. I want to combine Eventbrite and Mailchimp, whatever. You're just a hacker. You email them your proposal. They give you whatever, $10, $20, $30, $40,000 to do it. Boom, you're in business. But you know the best part? Unlike Y Combinator, they don't take the 6%.
No equity.
Yeah, it's just like free money. So if you're a developer, you need to get over to Mailchimp.com and start playing with the software. It's incredible. And they're accepting applications from anyone interested in building an integration into the Mailchimp platform. And it really is a great platform. Like I use it with Reportive, which is an investment of mine, with the Gmail tool. And I can see when I'm talking to you that you're subscribed to the Jason Nation and, et cetera. So it's really helpful for me when I'm talking to somebody to know, like, oh my God, this person isn't subscribed. Why aren't they subscribed? And then I tell them, hey, you might want to subscribe to my newsletter. Works pretty well. And you all know that it's free, Mailchimp, if you have under 1,000 subscribers. So go ahead and try it. Just log in and just see all the amazing features they have. And if you want to, just go ahead and say thank you at Mailchimp on your Twitter account or Facebook account. Thank you, thank you, thank you for supporting independent media. We're going to talk today about pitches, something that you and I have worked on together for now going on 4 years.
Yep.
TechCrunch 40, TechCrunch 50, TechCrunch 50, incredible companies.
Yep.
140 of them came to Sequoia's offices the 2 weeks before, maybe about 10 days before the event. And you and I personally prepared them to pitch.
Correct.
And we have a basic scoring system and heuristics of what makes for a great pitch.
Well, we let them give it a shot first.
Give it a shot, we rate them.
And give them an entry-level score, and then by the end, we work with them to raise that score up over the course of 3 iterations.
If you can measure it, you can manage it, and so by giving them a score, you're doing something nice. I mean, it's unkind sometimes to withhold the truth from people, and we've had people come in there and give them a 4, 5, 6.
It's helpful to them because then now they have a baseline relative to everybody else. They know, oh shoot,
I'm a little behind, I'm a little ahead.
I'm a 6, and
the average is 7,
Yeah.
because we tell them the average as well.
Right.
So today I want to go through the heuristics, the things that we've learned together. And the way to do that, of course, is to have a couple people do the Shark Tank. And so let's do it. Let's start with the Shark Tank, and then we'll give a tip. Okay, so we're going to have Harry. Harry, on the line? Or is this Jace?
Jace.
Oh, Jace, okay. Jace, you're calling from the 613. Where is that?
That's in Kingston, Ontario, Canada.
Whoa, another Canadian. Excellent. There's a lot going on in Canada. I was just on the phone with an incubator from Toronto. I understand you have an accelerator and an incubator in almost every major city there, Vancouver, Toronto.
We're kicking butt, for sure.
Very good. And there's actually some great companies up there, aside from RIM. What are some of the big companies up there?
In Toronto?
Well, just all across Canada.
99 Design.
99 Designs is there?
Yeah, 99 Designs. I use 99 Designs for my own site. It was fabulous, fabulous stuff.
And the design firm, there's a design firm that did Dig, right? Or one of the original guys? I forgot the name of them. Anyway, there's a lot of good stuff going on up there. I'm constantly getting invited to do a speaking gig up there, but just haven't been able to with everything. So you know the rules of Shark Tank. You're going to have 60 seconds. You're going to pitch us. We're going to score you on a scale of 1 to 10, both for your pitch and then for your idea. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in 3, 2, go.
How to Become.tv is not just entertaining interviews of successful experts and careers you've always dreamed about. It's a day in the life of an expert in that profession. Curious about how to become a wedding planner or personal trainer? You see it here firsthand. Now, more than 2.4 million people search how to become something monthly. And meeting this demand currently is Jason with Mahalo, aggregating an extensive library very well, along with Howcast and eHow. But with respect, all suffer from the same 3 things: a lack of consistent format, quality, and branding. Now, I know you're thinking the long tail play doesn't need to be entertaining, but just imagine if the How to Become niche told inspiring stories as well as inform. Both Dirty Jobs on the Discovery Channel and Wine Library TV have garnered huge audiences much larger than their own niche. I watch Wine Library TV and I don't even drink wine. Our community can best be served with not just relevant ads, but with the freemium to pay-per-view video model and job boards. We envision How to Become.tv becoming the This Week In network for career planning.
Awesome. You did it in exactly 59 seconds. Obviously, this is near and dear to my heart because, as you said, if you type how to become a substitute teacher, how to become pharmacist, Mahalo is #1 for both of those. And we've actually gone out and started interviewing people who are pharmacists, who are substitute teachers, and asking them. It's actually one of the projects, secret projects Tyler's been working on here. You've actually been leading a project like this. So I think your pitch was near perfect. I give it an 8.5 right off the bat. I understood exactly why you have more value than what we're doing at Mahalo. You're going to put more effort into it, it seems, and you're going to make it more entertaining, which means you're going to have a higher cost. So there is a little bit of an issue there because we've studied this, and even with the #1 ranking, I'm not sure how much money you can spend on this. I don't think you can spend $10,000 making one of these videos. You might be able to spend $500 and then make it profitable, but certainly not $10,000. So the truth may lie somewhere in between. Second, the idea is great. The CPM for people looking for jobs and careers is good, especially if they're looking for a career like being a welder or a scuba diver or anything is a trade or a profession. There's going to be some organization or some way to get help for that. So I think the idea, although it's a small idea, it's niche, is a good one, and I think you could build it into a $5-10 million a year business in terms of revenue over 7 years. That's what I would think it would become, unless you got a TV deal. I think you start syndicating there, maybe it becomes a little bit bigger. So I think on an idea basis, I'm going to give it. I hate to give the same score for both, so I'm going to give it an 8 as a business idea. I think it's a good starting point. I don't think that it is a destination, though. You need to add to it. What are your thoughts, Tom? On his pitch first.
Pitch first. I think you could have captured an emotional element. I like the Gary Vee part stuck out. And I think you have a good point there, which a lot of people aren't even necessarily into the wine there. I would have framed it specific to Jason. So here's my tip for this one is, the pitch that you gave is you would give to pretty much anybody.
Right.
The tip is tailor the pitch to the person you're giving it to.
Right.
I think this is
He did a little bit.
Barely.
Barely. He said, hey, Mahalo's in this space, eHow's in this space, so great.
Right.
But
granted you're on the show and you want to make it general, but I think not enough people do this.
Right, so you could do how to become a podcaster, how to become an angel investor.
Right, angel investor would have been great.
That would have been a great one. Say, hey, Jason, you became an angel investor in the last 2 years. You started investing in people, other companies. There's a lot of things you've learned in just the 2 years you've been doing it, and investing in 20 companies like Blippi, whatever.
Right.
And here's what you could share that knowledge, and that would be invaluable to somebody who's considering becoming an angel investor. Imagine a 10-minute video with you that was shot like Dirty Jobs or whatever.
It's a black belt tactic in.
You got to be careful because if you're going to bring the person you're pitching to into your story, you're right. It is an advanced technique because you don't want it to explode in your face and insult them in some way.
Right.
You don't want to say like, "Hey, Mark Andreessen, so if you came in here and I said, hey, how do you become like a blank blank?" And he's like, "Well, what are you talking about? What do I have to do with it?" Like, be careful.
Right.
So give it a score on the pitch.
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
Okay, 7.5, and you got an 8.5 from me. And I'm looking in the audience. I see a lot of on the pitches 7.7, 8.5, 6.5, 8, 8, 8.7, 8, 8, 10, 8, 9, 9. You did great on the pitches, so good job there.
Good.
What about the idea?
I like these kinds of ideas for first-time guys that have a love for content.
Why?
And he seems I feel the passion from him on it. Yeah, it's a smart space to be in. Videos, 2011 is going to be a very nice year for video online.
Yeah.
And CPMs are going up across the board, but specifically, this is an interesting niche. It's more like a horizontal because you're covering. Right?
He basically took eHow or Mahalo and took a sliver.
Right.
Took one of the best slivers of what we do.
Right.
It's a smart idea.
Right.
If you take something that a big company, whatever. eHow's a big company. We're a medium-sized company. But if you take something a big company, and you sort of skim the cream, this is skimming the cream of eHow. It's a smart move.
There wasn't. You didn't phrase it also in sort of the problem. There's not necessarily a problem here. I mean, you pointed out the weaknesses.
It's a demand, not a problem per se.
Right. You're not solving necessarily a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I am looking for information on how to be, if I'm a young person trying to become. Wondering how I become a music producer.
Right. You know what the problem is?
There are some jobs that are very elusive.
Well, no. Here's how I would.
There are other ones that are very literal.
There's actually quite a few places where you can read about the mundane facts of things.
Right.
Right. The salary or whatever. But where do you go to get sort of the inspiration and the story of? Yeah. He sort of touched on that.
It's sort of there is a TV show on MTV that taps into this called Made.
Right.
MADE. Like, I want to be a blank. Like, I want to be a hip hop star. I want to be this. I want to be a cheerleader. So they take some nerd who's like nobody knows the high school, and then they have them learn how to be a cheerleader. They come out and like, oh my God, they're incredible cheerleaders.
I'd almost like to see the opposite of this, which is everybody who's been in any job at some point, hates it and wants.
Why not to become? Why you should not become a substitute teacher.
The grass is always greener.
That would actually be a good segment on this.
That would be brilliant.
Yeah, who shouldn't become a thing. So we're actually producing it. So what about the idea? You like the idea because it's doable.
I like the idea. It's totally doable. You can
give it a score.
That's an idea.
Yeah, 10's Google. Yeah,
8, 5, approaching 9. Yeah.
Okay, great. So really great.
Can I ask you guys a question if you don't mind?
Yeah, go for it.
So I don't want to just rely on the ad revenue. I know that's a pitfall. But this freemium to pay-per-view model. So what I've done is I've approached other websites that deal with a similar niche. For example, policeready.com. They provide police exam preparation online tools. And I work in law enforcement now, so I know the space really well. What I'd like to do is produce fairly high-quality series of videos about how to become a police officer, for example. So this series of interviews, the application process, the recruiting process is very extensive. So you could have a 10-part series with that, sell that, and then have policeready.com or sites like it cross-promote. So we cross-promote each other's products. I see a lot of opportunity for that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you have the time to do that and to build those individual relationships. Those people might pay you to do it like service revenue. So there's a service business to be had there. They call that corporate video, or it's like the in-flight magazines or in-flight video. It's kind of corny, to be honest. Like if it's too much of a sales pitch for those things. So if you did it with a pharmacy school, it's going to feel less authentic, I think, than the independent editorial voice. So I always go with independent editorial voice in the best interest of the user, and then maybe secondary, try to build some partnerships on it. But if you can get people to pay to sponsor it, they put an ad in it, then it's all good. But one of the nice things is these things can monetize pretty well through Google AdSense or YouTube, because there are commercials already in existence, and YouTube's a phenomenon. 95% of the videos being watched seem to be being watched there.
Also turns out, like those Phoenix and school education, those are some of the biggest advertisers online, period.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So you'll get them from that, I think. So overall, we think it's a great idea. I think it's a boutique business. Like if you were going to raise money as an angel investor, from angel investors, I don't think that you could come and say, here's how this becomes a $50 million business right now. I think you're at the point at which you could reasonably say to somebody, I can build this into $1 million a year business. I can make $1 million a year on advertising. Here's how I'm going to get to $100,000 in advertising per month, or $20,000 a week in advertising. So these numbers are large. Getting to $20,000 a week is not easy.
Can I tell you what some of my struggles are now?
Yeah.
So I work full time in law enforcement. I'm working 40+ hours a week. So I mean, you guys talked about this last week. I'm working 15, 16-hour days pretty much every day. I can't do this as a full-time income without producing full-time content, right? So I just need more time. What I would like is not a big investment, but just something where I can take a year and I can focus on this relentlessly. And I can ensure that I'm producing 2 to 3 videos a week of decent quality. They're actually meaning.
And that's the perfect thing for what I call friends and family, right? This is the perfect way to go to your friends and family and say, listen, I need to get $50,000 together. It's sort of a micro loan, or $25,000 together. Maybe you can go to part-time doing some security work or whatever, and maybe you don't go full-time, maybe you go half-time, that kind of a thing. What I always did was I saved money, or I had 2 jobs at once and used the last job or the severance pay from the last job to pay and underwrite me from there. But on a pitch basis, you did good, and we wish you success with it. And I think building a prototype and then going to people and saying, hey, I want to raise angel investing, I think you could do good. I think you would get accepted to something like, for example, Open Angel Forum with an idea like this. What do you think? It's pretty.
I'm curious to see where it's at. A month, 2, 3 down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So great job, Jace. And
thanks so much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And hey, where are you going to be on February 23rd and 24th?
I'd love to be at a launch conference.
Excellent. So we are going to set you up with a ticket for you and a companion, 1+1. Just email Jason at lunch.is after the show, okay?
Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate it. Take care, guys.
Take care. So, pretty good pitch.
Yeah.
He didn't start with the sort of big problem.
Right.
But he started with something that was compelling content. But one of the best ways we've seen people pitch is to show something that's wrong in the world. And the one I always go back to that I always loved was ScriptPad recently at Open Angel Forum, and I saw them twice actually. I saw them in Boulder at Techstars and at Open Angel Forum, showed, hey, here is a prescription that is illegible. And this was for a woman in this city. I don't know what city it was. I'm going to say Phoenix. This woman Susan in Phoenix died because the pharmacist believed that this was this medicine, but it was actually this medicine, and they gave her a blood thinner that resulted in her having a cardiac arrest, all because of sloppy handwriting. And the audience is like, oh my God, that's effed up.
Right.
That is some effed up S.
Right.
And
HS.
just unbelievable. Yeah. It was an HS moment. And so then he goes, and this is not the first time this has happened. Every year, dozens of people die because prescriptions are filled out improperly, and thousands of prescriptions are filled out improperly that send people to emergency rooms and the hospital. And then you just, boom, he puts like 10, headlines of wrong prescription, sends this person to the hospital or kills them. Now the audience goes, holy effing S. Now you got an HFS moment,
GG.
right? God damn, right, gosh darn. You got a gosh darn moment happening right there. So now everybody in the audience is like, this is ridiculous. And what does your mind go to? It immediately goes to what? When you hear about this problem, what does your mind go to? Or what would anybody's mind go to?
Well, there's got to be a better way to do that.
There's got to be a better way. Oh my God, this is a disaster. What's the better way to do this? That's exactly what your mind goes to.
Especially when you're in a room full of entrepreneurs.
And angel investors and VCs, who a lot of time angel investors and VCs are former entrepreneurs.
You've just piqued their curiosity in a huge way, because now you're gonna say, here's what we've come up with, because you've given it weeks or months of thought.
Years, some cases.
They've had 10 seconds, and now it's a contest to see were you able to come up with something?
Who got the correct answer in the class?
Right.
Who anticipated?
Right.
So now you've got everybody engaged.
So these are the overachievers that feel like, let me see if I can get the right answer by the time he announces what he came up with.
One person's going, oh, well, why don't you use drag and dictate? You dictated. Why don't you have an iPad app? Why don't you have an iPhone app?
It's also an incredibly clever method, because they're inherently going to do this anyways. If you throw out that formula of a pitch, where you break down the problem first, and then say, what if there was a better way? You're inherently going to get them thinking of solutions. And if you've got a room full of smart people, that's exactly what you want. Yeah. Because now their brain's engaged. Exactly. They get a little emotionally invested. And you show your solution, and they're going to be throwing out their solutions. Of course. Which is free consultation. I didn't think of that. It's like a bonus. Yes. So this is, I think, tip number one. If you can get up there and say, hey, here is a problem. Here's how the world is effed up. You will capture attention. So anytime you have the chance to do that, you should do it. And actually, we've seen this before. For example, when Uber Cab gave their presentation, they were like, getting a cab on a Friday night can be like this, and they show some shot of whatever, how many you can't get a cab. Or ever try to get a cab on a Friday night? Uber, I should say, not Uber Cab. That is an obvious thing that we've all gone through in a major city. God, you can't get a cab. They actually, I remember they were talking about, how hard it is for people to become cab, like the whole transportation inefficiencies and all that. And it solves two problems for two types of... Right, and they actually showed the problem for cab drivers, which is they are underutilized. Right. And so you can show multiple problems, and then you present your solution. So anyway, this is tip number one we wanted to share today, is if you can show a problem, that's great. And another one was Mint. If you remember Mint's presentation, they showed all the different services that you have money from, and then this beautiful interface where you pull in all your information into one place. They pitched it in such a way that when they got to the punchline of their interface, it was like, oh, it felt like a nice massage. Like, I want to use that. It's a release. It climaxed in a way. It was a cathartic moment. Yep, because you're looking at all your pain. Right. Take me, Calgon, take me away. If you remember that commercial. And you know that none of these big fat cats are going to do it. You need somebody independently smart to get it right. You know what I mean? Like Bank of America is not going to figure it out and integrate with Citibank and get all your stuff together. They have reasons why they wouldn't. Of course. Right. So those would be supporting arguments. But that's another tip, which is to have supporting arguments of why this doesn't exist. So another nuance. But let's do another pitch here. Who do we have on the line next? Is it
Eric. Is that I'm pronouncing correct?
Eric, hi.
Oh, is it Eric or is it A-R-I-C?
It's Eric, yeah.
How do you spell it?
A-R-I-C, yeah.
A-R-I-C. I've never heard somebody spell Eric with an A.
I thought I was the only one with that name too, but then when the internet came around, I found there were thousands.
Oh, really? There's thousands of people who have misspelled Eric on a birth certificate. That's amazing. Do you have eric.com?
And they were all from the same hospital?
No, but I have boyles.us.
Oh, Boyles is good. So Susan Boyle is, well, she's Boyle, not Boyles. So you're calling from the 646, which is probably New York City, Brooklyn, or where you're from?
It is New York City.
Ah, yes. New York, New York. The place that's so great, they named it twice. You are... What's so funny?
The city so nice, they named it twice?
That's right.
The place so great, they named it twice.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to see if you're paying attention.
All right.
The city so nice, they named it twice. Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember that thing. Okay, so Eric, you're ready to do what you need to do here. You need to impress us. You've got 60 seconds. You got to clearly state what it is you do. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, in 3, 2, go.
Jason, have you ever been shopping online when you see a photo of something you want, followed by an enlarge button? But when you click on it to see a bigger photo, usually you get the same small photo, just in a different window. It's frustrating to say the least, but in sales, it can also mean the difference between a browser and a buyer. That's just one example of why I created fullscreenphotos.com. This single service website allows anyone to create full screen presentations in just 3 simple steps that anyone can do. It works on eBay, Craigslist, Facebook, or even your own blog or website. Basically, anywhere you can post photos, you can have full screen photos. It's the perfect solution for online sales, photography, real estate. In fact, can you believe people are still squinting to see tiny photos of million-dollar homes? I can't believe it. Based on freemium model, there's a free single slideshow version all the way up to an unlimited enterprise package for power users and websites. And the slideshow promotes itself because every single one carries prominent branding pointing back to our site.
Okay, Tyler likes it. I'm going to let Tyler go first. Tyler, what did you like about it?
I like it.
Okay, why? What did you like about it? Let's start with the pitch.
The pitch is brilliant. He has that kind of calm, understated, confident.
Yeah. He definitely was not panicked.
No.
He wasn't spastic on that.
And it wasn't rehearsed to a boring degree. It was just like, here, I've got this cool thing. I know it's cool. You're gonna like this. So just sit back. Yeah. The tone of that came off really good. Not overly rehearsed. It felt conversational, like you were actually talking, and not just reading a script. And there's a nuance to that in and of itself. So, I like at the time you got to the money shot within. Halfway through the second sentence or so,
which was
10 seconds into it, 15 seconds into it, he got through the problem in like record time, like 10 seconds. And
the problem is
when you click on the small image, it's just the same small image, and part of me
in another window.
Honestly, at that moment, I was thinking to myself, I'm not exactly sure how big of a problem that is.
Right, me too.
But you didn't try and overstate it, which is key.
Right.
You weren't trying to be like, and this is ending the world, and this is like on the scale of global warming.
Well, and he brought in a good example, I thought, when he said real estate.
Right.
Because I immediately thought,
no doubt,
I go to Trulia, I go to a Redfin, I go to Zillow, and I'm trying to look at the photos. Yes. It's a weird thing that happens here in LA, I have to say, which is everybody looks at everybody else's home on Zillow to see how much their houses cost and go look at the images before they bought it.
Yeah, you let the product do the talking on this one, because as soon as you said full screen, in the name's brilliant. As soon as you say full screen images, it's like, oh, photos. Wow, yeah, why aren't we doing this? Like if I was an e-retailer or real estate, I think this could be...
I know what I feel like this is? This is so simple. It reminds me of URL shorteners. It was like you could put together Bitly in 10 seconds on a weekend. But that doesn't mean that Bitly is not very important, and other people had URL shorteners for a long time. But Bitly put together metrics and a short domain, and all of a sudden, boom, you got something really nice. And this is like, hey, this full screen photos, by the way, on Flickr. I know that because I've sent people whatever. But here, if I was just putting together a gallery...
You got that domain, full screen photos?
Got the domain, full screen photos, which is a great domain. And here, you just click, when you click full screen photos, and I'm assuming I could send that URL to somebody, it's just, it's a really nice experience. They see that, and that's all they see. I like it a lot. I give the pitch... I give the pitch a 9. What do you give the pitch?
Yeah, pitch is a 9.
Yeah, and if you were doing the pitch visually, it's just brilliant. Tell me, what do you give it as a business? I mean, it's not Google's a 10, right? Remember, Google, Facebook's a 10, so it's certainly not that.
But it's ideal for, I mean, we're talking about first-time businesses for the most part.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, as a first-time business, this kind of thing is ideal for somebody. As long as they like selling, because there's going to be a hell of a lot of.
This seems to me like a freemium. Like, hey,
it is that, but it's like a self-serve model.
Yeah, but I mean, I make what I would do is I just make it free if you if you want to have, like Bitly has Bitly Pro. If you want to use the full screen photo URL and have the logo in your slideshow, it's that much.
You can do the logo.
The slideshow here.
Yeah, you can do the logo thing.
Pull my screen up for a second, guys. So you see here when I move my mouse, full screen photos comes up on the bottom right. If you want to take that out and put your logo in, you pay.
Right.
So if I want that to say Calacanis Realty or Steep Decline Productions.
Or you can limit their carousel to 4 or 5 images, and if you want
limit them to a certain number of carousels, or not give them metrics. Metrics would be another thing. How many people pulled it up? How long did they spend in it? How many did they see? I mean, it really would be helpful for a real estate broker to know that. So what do you give the business? What do you give the business?
8.5.
I wrote down right here 8.5. I knew you'd give it an 8.5. I gave it an 8. Tyler and I are usually pretty close on our scores. What did the audience give it? Let's take a look here. Let's see what the audience gave it. I see 8.5, so I see 7.4. I see 8.6. So obviously people really liked the pitch. They felt it was very solid, but not as much as we did. And I'm seeing where people don't like the idea. Scroll back a little bit. Let me see some more scores if possible. Thank you, guys. 8.6. I think people are looking at the simplicity of this, and I think they have a problem with it. Go scroll to the end. Let's see if anybody else put their scores in there. 8.4, 8.7, 9.75, 8.6. Okay, I can understand people in our audience.
Bitly as an idea would be get the same score.
Bitly here would get a 6. It doesn't mean it's not an important Surmise, which was a search engine for Twitter, which got sold for a lot of money.
You know what's amazing is a lot of the stuff.
What's that, Tyler? What is amazing?
Mailchimp.
Mailchimp is amazing.
No, but SendGrid. When we get a lot of these pitches for the conferences specifically, people feel like they really have to provide some sort of groundbreaking, revolutionary, and like it needs to be complex. And in truth, the ideas that normally carry through
elegantly simple
are just surprising in how simple they are.
Simplicity is a really good weapon.
And it's one of those arts that you don't start realizing and respecting until you get to the upper levels of things.
There's a certain zen
to it. It makes sense that Dave and his team are like, let's stick with simple.
Right, of course.
Because that's the upper end, and I mean, even Twitter at this point is obsessed with the simplicity.
They're trying to be more reductionist. So anyway, great job. I also, what you don't do in a pitch is important as well. And what he didn't do in this pitch was he didn't bring up competitors. And he didn't say, oh my God, we're better than Flickr for this reason. That always seems, you know what, when you start comparing yourselves to competitors, you've already lost. It's like when you're dating a girl, and you're like, listen, I'm better than that other guy, and here's why.
Unless there's a caveat to that, which
let me
is
hear the caveat.
When the person inevitably that you're pitching to, and you've pitched it 10 times, and all 10 times their first question is, what about your competitor?
Yeah. So if it's unnecessary, then you don't have to do it. But if it is, if you were going to launch,
but that does happen in a lot of cases. If you're obviously doing something real similar to Julia, like cover why yours is. What their, what your unique angle is.
I just think, my point is, mentioning a competitor, not bad. It's when you're obsessed.
Unless you really can show that you're doing some kind of opportunity that they're really missing.
Oh, right. So if you're disrupting them, if you're disintermediating them, then yes, it's critical to mention that. Like, hey, we're better than, we're taking the space normally taken by, who are the people who used to book your airline tickets for you?
Travel agents?
Travel agents.
Yes.
I haven't talked to one in so long.
My grandfather.
I forgot what they were called.
Right.
But if you're saying, hey, I'm going to get rid of travel agents, sure, mention travel agents.
Right.
But if you're saying, like, I'm going to build something that, lets you sort through, like when Hipmunk was on, they weren't obsessed with Sidestep or Kayak. They mentioned it.
Right.
They mentioned, like, hey, we do something different.
Right.
It's a different view.
Yeah.
And here's why. But it wasn't like that was the whole talk.
Right.
So I guess we refine it to, if disruptive, certainly mention who you're disrupting, but mention your competitors, but don't obsess. I think I would narrow it down to that amount in a presentation.
I'm just surprised I haven't seen this before.
Does it exist?
Actually, you know, that's funny because I think that a lot of people probably are giving it a lower score on the idea because a lot of them probably realize that there are ways that you can do this already.
Yep.
But the difference is that this is turnkey. It's a package for, a lot of people are saying in the chat room, for, non-techie people, if they want to add something really exciting to their sales, whatever it is, a product, a real estate, this is a turnkey way to do it. And it also lets you upload up to 6 megabyte files. And a lot of these, like if you were to put something on Craigslist, you get 4 photos and they reduce them to the size of a matchbook, and you don't have nothing you can do about that. You can paste this URL, our URL, into your Craigslist posting, and it'll launch the full screen photos.
Do you make it as simple as uploading several photos and you return an embed code that you...
Basically, yep.
If it's that simple, then
This could be a hit.
people need to respect the simplicity of that.
Yeah.
And, granted, it's simple, but there's, like I said, we're saying there's an art to doing it.
Elegantly simple. Well done, Eric.
Thanks. I really appreciate your advice.
Yeah. Hey, where are you going to be February 23rd and 24th?
Oh, God. San Francisco?
Beautiful. Yes, you're coming with a guest. 1+1. Just email Krut, Krut, @launch.is. And he's going to set you up, and I'll make sure I talk to him and produce your
launch.is. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll see you then. One thing that's also elegantly simple, yet complex, is DNA Mail. Let them help you succeed in business by moving your mail to the cloud. Get their Google Apps and Microsoft Exchange hosted email services. It's free activation, free setup, free 24-hour support right here in Los Angeles from people that care. And that's what you need if you've got a business and, hey, listen, it's great to just order Google Apps or, there's a bunch of places that'll give you super cheap Microsoft Exchange hosting. But who are you going to call? DNA Mail. DNA Mail, DNA Mail. Everybody loves DNA Mail. You're going to get somebody on the phone. And that's what you're buying here. Because, you have a big organization. You get over 50 people like we are. Somebody's got to help the person
when your mail goes down.
and DNA Mail. 99.9% uptime guarantee. It doesn't go down anyway. Don't let your business suffer from subpar communication. Sign up today and take advantage of their 30-day free trial. DNA Mail. Everybody loves DNA Mail. Go ahead and thank them on your Twitter account. Thank them on your Facebook. Thank them. Open the window right now and shout out, I love DNA Mail, @DNA Mail on Twitter. Thank them right now. And go ahead and anytime people sign up for DNA Mail all the time and they tell me how great the service is, go ahead and tweet, I just signed up for @DNA Mail, and they see that. And trust me, today I was just on the line and somebody had tweeted they were using it, and that just makes the marketing people over there feel like they're doing the right thing, and they know they're doing the right thing, but hey, those little confirmations from people who are actually using the service and say, I was referred by JCal and Steep Decline, that helps. Thank you, DNA Mail. Justin, you're on the line.
Yeah.
Okay, Justin, you're calling from the 608. Where is that?
It's in Madison, but I live in Chicago right now.
The Chi-Town. How are the Bulls doing?
They're getting there. I've got high hopes for them. I think they can pull it off.
Yeah, they're not the Knicks, but... okay, so... Knicks are doing fabulous. I love it. And Mari Stoudemire, our star, who's the number 4 scorer in the league and the MVP of the league right now, he's dating Kanye, or he was out with Kanye West's freakish ex-girlfriend, the tall with the white hair, crazy girl who wears latex all the time?
No.
I forgot her name, but she's some supermodel who's like really tall and weird. Anyway, just total aside. Justin, are you ready to be on Shark Tank and pitch?
Absolutely.
Okay, in 3, 2, go.
The market for deals is red hot, but while all eyes are on the daily deal sites, traditional retailers still have most of the deals consumers really want to know about. I'm talking about clearance sections, promo codes, refurbished items, and seasonal sales. There's a lot of great deals out there, but it's too much to keep track of. People can solve that problem by visiting mypersonalshopper.com and creating a profile in just 30 seconds, where they list what kind of food, clothes, and stuff they like to buy, along with some demographic information. People then get a personalized store that pulls in the best of the web. Advertisers love it because they can target deals to the right audience. A big brand like Target can do a deal only for women ages 16 to 45 who live within 15 miles of a Target store and currently shop at competitors like Walmart. MyPersonalShopper.com is the best place for consumers to get the deals they love and for advertisers to get the repeat customers they need.
Awesome. Okay. 54 seconds. Well done. Right off the bat, you explained, not a problem, but you explained that everybody was very focused on the deal sites with good reason, but that doesn't help retailers. So the retailers are the ones with the problem here, and their problem is they need to get people in the stores. And if people come out and fill your profiles, then of course that would have value to them, and they could give them deals and slice and dice the list. Of course, the only problem is you don't have critical mass. So it becomes sort of a chicken and egg problem, which I didn't hear a solution to. So I'm going to give the pitch a 7 because I think that I have just too many questions. And I didn't feel like there was a slam dunk that I understand why this is going to succeed. I understand the concept, but I don't understand why this is going to succeed. On a business level, I've seen this idea a lot, personalization and shopping. And I'm, if it did work, you'd have to have a massive amount of scale, and it is working every day for Amazon. So in some ways, it's a 10 personalized shopping, but I have a lot of execution concerns about this working, and so I feel like maybe the idea is a 7.5 because of all the execution risks. Tyler, what are your thoughts on this?
You know what this one reminds me of?
What does it remind you of, Tyler?
Giving flowers to a nun.
Giving. This reminds you of giving flowers.
Yes.
To a nun.
Yes.
And what I would take from that is that if you were trying to romance a girl, the girl you don't want to romance is one who cannot reciprocate a nun.
Right.
And so he's trying to romance the girl who he shouldn't be going after, which is the retailers.
I know. I honestly think this could be absolutely huge. The idea of asking the customers, I love this idea, by the way. I love the idea of asking the customers, tell us what you want to be marketed to you.
Yeah.
And this doesn't...
Of course, everybody's like that since 1995.
Right. And it doesn't have to just apply to these daily deal things. This could be just for all banner ads and all advertising anyway.
Pick your advertising.
Right. Part of me wishes and thinks and believes that someday that could happen. Like you'll go into a dashboard and you're like, I like
sports.
Right. Well,
I like NBA, not NFL.
I'm a snowboarder.
Yeah.
I plan to buy a snowboard in the next season, and
show me snowboard ads.
But everything else about yourself, like a whole living profile that you could opt into and everything. And I think the daily, to your credit, I think the daily deal space is probably the first place where you could really do this.
Yeah. This sounds like something Groupon could do already.
Right. So I'm actually quite optimistic about it. It's just I don't know if the payoff is going to happen. Hence the
and actually, you have something like this. Already with YouTube. I think YouTube is giving like a 5-second window or like maybe a 3-second window where it says, which ad do you want to see? And it shows you 3 different ones, like Coca-Cola, the snowboard, or, No Ordinary Family or something. And you click which one you want. And if you don't click, it just picks one for you.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
That is brilliant.
So scores?
Scores?
On the presentation?
Pitch, again, this is one of those cases where... here's how I would have crafted it, just to give you the point here. I would have done the personalization thing. I would have said, Jason, you get you take place in Groupon. Everyone's using Groupon. Groupon's going great.
I use Groupon all the
time. And you're buying...
I bought a dozen Groupons.
You've bought several Groupons. How many spa offers have you got in the last...
Too many. I don't go to spa.
Week? Right, and he's like, oh, gee, yeah, tell me about it.
I don't go to the spa.
But Jason,
You know what I do? If I go to the spa, that makes me crazy. Because I'm sitting there, I want to check my BlackBerry.
Right. Jason, how would you like to receive offers related to poker? And
well, of course I want to.
Yeah, watch his face go crazy, right?
What if I could get like 10% off joining a tournament or something, or 20% off, get some bonus chips?
Right.
Yeah, a free roll maybe.
So you get the person excited,
vested.
Yeah. So I think this is one of those cases where the personalization one really works because it'll. And then the light bulb goes off.
Well, yes, and the way to do it is, hey, every day we all get Groupons, we all get Guild Group, we all get One King's Lane,
right?
And I'm sure to half the audience here, this would be incredibly appealing. And then you show the rock massage and the facial. You show the facial,
Right.
And then, but I'm sure to some other people, this might not be so appealing. And then they show rock climbing.
This is actually not much different than the Mahalo pitch early on, which is you could have done, Jason, which of these 2 offers is more interesting to you? Yeah. And you show him the spa with the stones on the eyes. With the white mask. And then you show him the poker tournament for half off. He's going to be like, I'm going to go with the poker tournament. Like, right. And then you pull back and like, this one's Groupon. And this one's, our partner or whoever.
But you don't have a choice on Groupon. You can't filter out.
Right.
So, okay. So what do you give it on terms of score? You didn't like his presentation, obviously, because you had to give it a lot of
Yeah.
you did a lot of triage on
Yes.
the presentation.
Yes, I would. There's a lot of room for easy improvement, but I'd say it's a 6.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7. I was feeling a little generous. What do you give it for the score of the business?
So,
I gave it 7.5.
I mean, if you can get that nun to get that robe off, it's
Yeah, we're going into dangerous territory here. I think we just lost the 17% of Christians who listen to this program have just started a letter writing campaign against you. I would like to invite all Christians to unsubscribe from At Steep Decline.
No longer welcome to the Vatican.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking it can be huge. This concept is brilliant. It's going to be the devil's in the details on this. And I think
what do you give it as a score?
Score, I really like it. I'm going to say 8.5.
Oh, wow, that's great. That's a big score. And in the chat room, I see 6.6, 5.5, 7.7, 7.5, 7.6. And when I see two scores the same score, I kind of think the person's not thinking enough. 5.5, 6.7, 6.8, 8.8. I mean, I think what happens is sometimes you give the first number, you just feel the second number should be the same. It's very rare that somebody does hit a 7.7, 8.8. It's like rolling snake eyes and craps. I mean, the odds are not with you.
Right.
It's usually two different numbers. You got to really think about this, folks. And you can use a half number if you're going to get a little more kung fu on us. Justin, what did you think of the feedback?
I think it's great feedback. I think you're totally on point about the chicken and the egg problem. And I've got the perfect solution. I want to show the world what I built, but I only want to do it at one place. I want to show them at the launch conference in San Francisco on February 23rd and 24th.
And is that what that counter is? It's 67 days to the conference?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then you email me offline, and I'll take a look at it, and maybe we'll get you in.
Sounds good.
Okay. We'll talk to you then. Good job. Let's bring Kathy in and do the news. I love that.
Whenever you're ready, Jacob.
Oh yes, news. I'm sorry. I was looking at guests. We have like some potential guests here. We got the founder of Discuss, the co-founder of About Me, the founder of One True Fan, and the founder of Bonobos. I think those are all good suggestions from producer Rob. But I don't know the founder of Minimal. Just raised almost $1 million on Kickstarter for an iPod Watch. I have an iPod Watch already.
Do you have an About Me profile?
I know the guys from About Me, and they didn't save /Jason for me. So I'm like, well, F it. I'm not going to be like /Jason Calacanis. So I told them, get me Jason and I'll use the service. And they're like, oh, well, one of our other guys, a programmer at the company has it. I'm like, so go to them and tell them there's a more important Jason. Give them the...
Well, Jason, it's just Jason Calacanis. How many Jason Calacanises do you know?
I know, but I like having a short name. I mean, it's sort of my trademark. At Jason on Twitter,
Yeah, I guess so. Kathy Choi is a different story. Tyler Crowley, I don't know. Do you know any other Tyler Crowleys?
You should get Tyler.
There's about 5 of them out there.
I'm going to get you Tyler. I'll get you at Tyler. I'll write that down.
Can you get me a Kathy?
No.
No. Well, there's only 50,000.
If I get Kathy, it's going to my mom. Sorry. Okay, tell us the first news story.
Sure. Yesterday it was reported that Yahoo is shutting down several products like Yahoo Buzz, My Blog Log, and also Delicious. This morning, Yahoo has come back to say they are not shutting it down, but while they have determined that there's not a strategic fit at Yahoo, there is an ideal home for Delicious outside of the company where it can be resourced to the level where it can be competitive. Who's going to take this company?
Maybe we will. I actually asked Jason Rapp to call them and said if they want us to keep it going, we'll keep it going because I'm a fan of the service. I think the problem is the service is probably going to cost $1 million a year to keep up and running. It's got to cost $20,000 to $5,000 to $50,000 in service per month at least. So that's $300,000, $600,000 right there. You put 2 or 3 programmers on it and a product manager. Now you're at $1 million. And so now you know why it's getting shut down. It's because they probably have 1 million or 2 million users who are dedicated. And those users, if they were willing to pay $10, if 10% would pay $10 each, then they could pay for it. But it's Yahoo blew it in terms of using this. This was an asset that they were going to use for search. The idea was that if and it was back to human-powered search years ago. It was bought under the premise that if we have this really good data set of what people are bookmarking in real time, we can use that data to make search results better. Well, since that time, you have Twitter and Facebook, and people are sharing links on Bitly, and you have maybe a little bit of a faster data set going. So Dig and Delicious were the original, places where people were buzzing about links, and so you could use that as the social bookmarking, social indication that something was important or relevant. Now, the truth be told, Twitter and Facebook are a better place to get that data. So the reason they bought it doesn't exist anymore. And so what are you left with? You're left with a boutique service that they probably shouldn't have spent $25 or $30 million on. Hey, but that's how it goes. You spend $25 million on Delicious, you spend $25 million on Flickr. One doesn't work out, even though it's a great service. The other one's worth probably $200 million. So, you know, for Flickr, if it was going to be sold, or in terms of how much money it could make them. So,
when did they buy the company?
They bought it. It got bought right before Weblogs Inc. did, so I'm going to guess 2004, or maybe 2005.
And they haven't changed the interface or anything at all. I mean,
no, they've stayed true to it, but they never integrated it into search results. What they should have done was, if you were logged in to Delicious, when you did a search result, it would show you your friend. It would show you Delicious links, and it would show you your friend's Delicious links. So that was another social network they had. And there are like 5 social networks inside of Yahoo that they never leveraged. One is your instant messenger list, right? Those people you're pretty intimate with. Second, your email address book, another group of people you're pretty intimate with, and they know actually who you email the most, so you could actually get an indication of who you're really tight with versus who you only email with once a month. And they could correlate those two things, obviously, the instant message in that list. And then you had Delicious, which also had a social network in it. Then you had Flickr, which has a social network in it. And actually the Flickr homepage now, when you log in, is quasi a news feed. It's not really a well-designed news feed. You can't comment, and you can't like or share something, but it does have it in sort of a news feedish kind of way. So, the second Yahoo wasn't able to buy Facebook for $2 billion, which was in 2008, maybe 2007, they should have said, you know what? You go to Yahoo, and your friends are right there in the left-hand navigation. They didn't do it. They effed it up. And now the new regime that's in there is having to clean up all this stuff. And part of cleaning up is you have to shut things down, you have to sunset things. It's not strategic, it's a distraction. And so you got to get rid of distractions. So I think Yahoo's doing what's right for Yahoo, it's just it happens to be a loved service. And so now they have to do the right thing with it. And there was a leaked screenshot. They said they were sunsetting it, which actually means they probably were trying to sell it all this time. Same thing with blog lines. IAC didn't need blog lines anymore. RSS readers were supposed to be this big thing, and everybody's going to live in them. Not everything catches, and that's what we have here. What do you think, Tyler? Anything?
So you got me on a tangent with the blog line. It's amazing how the arc on RSS is going to be the way people are going to change.
Changes everything.
Yeah, but then how fast that cycle went. Yeah, it's loved, and it is such a bizarre thing that it never got integrated into search. It seems like such a no-brainer.
The thing was, bookmarking never became anything more than a very niche pursuit. It was only for the top 5% of people, maybe. Most people were like, why do I need this? I can just bookmark in my browser. Or I remember the domain, or I do a Google search. I mean, frankly, Google being so good is another reason bookmarks don't need to exist. You can just say, I think I searched for something like this, and you do a couple keywords, and oh yeah, I found it again. It's almost easier than taking the time to bookmark. And tag stuff. But those nerds, those top 2 or 3%, that was a good market. I mean, Foxmarks had the same problem. Foxmarks was going to shut down, and then they wound up saving it and giving it to somebody. I would do it just because I think that I have some ideas of how you could build it out a little bit, but I think the data inside of Delicious is worth something. Okay. Anyway, I have an affinity for it, but hopefully they sell it.
I never liked it. It just is too complicated when you go on. I didn't really understand how to use it, and I spent about 5 seconds and just never came back. That
would be like 95% of people's experience, 98%.
So I'm not an internet nerd,
Same thing with StumbleUpon, all these services. Like, they have good data in it, and if they ever put in front of you like the list of iPad cases, when you were buying an iPad case, you would say, wow, this is great data. Look at all these cool, I can't find these links anywhere else. Or if you were looking for some, website about Hawaii or Kauai, something very specific, if you pull up the Kauai tag there, you're going to find really good links selected by humans and sorted by the number who bookmarked it. So those nerds and their bookmarking activity, we all get to benefit from.
Right.
It just never became mainstream. Nobody ever figured out how to monetize it. Is the other issue.
Yeah.
If it was making $30 million a year, maybe they would be like, keep it going. Next story.
5 Silicon Valley people, employees or consultants for Primary Global Research, were charged with illegal insider trading yesterday on information obtained about tech companies such as Dell, Apple, Advanced Micro Devices, and Flextronics International. These consultants received more than $400,000 for their information. How is a company like Primary Global Research, a self-described actionable intelligence company, allowed to exist?
Okay.
Makes no sense to me.
Here we go. This is a message for Primary Global Research and the researchers within it and the people using the research inside of it. You're idiots. When you know you're doing something wrong, when you pay an employee of a publicly traded company to get on the phone with somebody who buys and sells publicly traded companies, and you're doing it anonymous to their cell phone when they're not at work, and you're paying them thousands of dollars that they don't deserve, and they would be instantly fired if their bosses knew that they were doing it. All of these things are indications that what you're doing is unethical. The fact that you did not recognize this means one of two things. One, you're an idiot. Two, you're greedy and unethical. Fill in the blank.
The shady or stupid gonna enjoy.
I mean, when I heard this concept,
yeah, I remember we both heard it at the same time. It was an
remember?
Open Angel Forum.
It was at
pitch.
Open Angel
Yes.
Forum, and what did I say to the person?
Yeah, you're like,
is
wait,
that
wait.
legal?
You stopped their whole pitch and you're like, wait, break this down for me for a second.
Yeah, because they were telling us about this thing, and they're like, this is an incredible
she
business.
came from this field.
And she came from this world. And she said, well, what they do is they find those people who have a lot of intelligence, and they hire them as consultants. And I'm like, wait a second. How did they get them on the phone? And they're like, well, they set up a phone call, and they call one, they call the other, they put them together. I'm like, do they know who they are? And they're like, no, but they know their title. I'm like, does their boss know? I don't know. And this is what I learned in Catholic school. This is what the priest or the brother would say to you, like, Jason, you know you're doing something wrong. You know I did a lot of bad stuff. And they would say, you know when you're doing something wrong. And I said to myself, you know what? I do know when I'm doing something wrong. There is an internal compass inside of me that is telling me, do not steal this comic book. And yet I still stole comic books when I was a kid. We had 5 techniques for stealing comic books. I'll tell you one.
You had techniques for stealing comic books.
I'll tell you the one. This is a patented technique I came up with in Brooklyn.
Like the slip.
I call it the drop. I call it the drop. This is called the drop. We go in, 5 kids. I'm going to make a short movie about...
Wait, what was the name of the store?
It was Tiamo.
Who owned the store?
Ahmed. It was some,
Okay.
Indian guy, poor guy. We used to come in and terrorize the guy every day.
Oh my gosh.
And so we come in, 5 kids, barreling in there, 12, 13 years old. And we're all over the comics. And I would go, oh wow, this is an interesting Conan the Barbarian, or whatever, Spider-Man. And I'd be reading it, and then I would go, and I would drop one right into my bag, and I would look the guy right in the eye. How's it going?
Wait, you drop it? Where would you drop it?
I picked up 2. And then on the ground, we had put our bags.
Oh.
So we'd have a bag. And I'd go, oh yeah, wow, this is great. Oh, did you get it? Oh, we got episode 52? Okay. And I put episode 52 back, but then it would be in our bags.
Oh my.
Anyway, I, to this day, live with tremendous guilt about stealing comic books when I was a kid. I cannot tell you enough. There is no amount of therapy that I could go to that would make me, I'm going to be totally honest. Every month I think about the bad stuff I did when I was a kid, and I say, why did I do that? That was so terrible.
Oh, you don't feel so bad about stealing that comic book?
I feel terrible about it. I don't feel as bad as what we did to the guy on the bus who was the bus driver with the snowballs. That was truly bad. But
Terror.
what we did to that guy was so bad. Did I ever tell you that story?
The snowballs? Yeah. That was like episode 50 something.
I told that on the air?
I think you did.
This is I got to go back to episode 52?
No, this is what we did. This is another bad thing we did. This is when we were 12 years old. So there was a bus that came on 7th Avenue by our house on 76th Street in Brooklyn. And so we used to like to throw ice balls at the bus or snowballs at the bus, right? And so the guys would be like, they'd give you the finger and they'd put the white windshield. There's nothing you can do to a bus. So we're like, well, we got to get this guy. So we're scheming and figuring out how do we get the bus drivers. These poor guys are working their asses off, and it's 10 o'clock at night in Brooklyn. It's freezing out. They got to drive this big empty bus. I mean, that job sucks. I mean, that's a hard job. So we, of course, think, well, how can we terrorize this person? And this is what 12-year-olds in Brooklyn are thinking about.
I hope this person isn't watching the show.
You were talking about
I hope they are. I'd love to go apologize, honestly.
This was about how you used to get kicked off the bus.
Anyway, so then what we do is I came up with another great idea. I said, I'm going to pretend I'm getting on the bus. So I would sit there in my backpack and my coat, and I'll wave the bus driver. Or actually, I think we sent my brother out because I wanted to throw the snowballs like everybody else. We have literally 10 kids with 3 or 4 snowballs each, like this, hiding in the basement stairs, like around the corner. My brother Josh, and then the doors would open, and they open like this in New York. They open like this, and my brother he put one foot on. And then he grabbed the door and leaned back like this.
No.
And then 3 other guys would come out and grab the door. And we go, boom, boom, boom. And the guy would go like this, And then once you were done throwing it was your turn to hold the door open. And the next guy could go reload. And we would do it. And They try to close the door. They pull the door.
Kids, don't take any of these stories home.
This is what Primal Global Research is doing. They knew they know what they're doing is illegal and they know it's wrong. They should take the CEO of this company and they should string him up and make an example of him. This is the stuff that gives capitalism a bad name. These guys are cheating and stealing. I mean, it's just unconscionable that you would think, I mean, on my stupidest, most unethical day in my life, when I was losing my mind, I would never think, oh, putting an insider who works in the distribution department of Intel or, Cisco with somebody who trades the stock is a good idea. These guys thought, we can do this and we've got a great excuse when we get caught. That's exactly what they thought. And now they're going to go to court and they're going to try to use that excuse. Except the problem with these dumbasses is they're going to try to use that excuse after the economy has collapsed and we've seen all this fallout and Madoff. And you know what? Now people want blood. So when you're thinking of doing something wrong and you think you're Lex Luthor, think about what happens to Lex Luthor when he goes to jail. It's not pretty, okay? Even if you're Lex Luthor, if you catch my drift.
Well, whose responsibility is it, though, to turn this company into nothing? I mean, nothing's happened to the CEO.
This company and the people who work at it, the leadership of it, this is virtuous what they're doing. Because this is what makes people not trust capitalism. We spend all this time talking on the show about how great it is that they create jobs, how great it is, that we compete with the rest of the world and we make all these innovative products. And then these people who don't create for a living, they're doing arbitrage and espionage. It's espionage for arbitrage.
It's
Kill yourselves.
Info pimping.
Anyway, that's it. That's end the clip there. It's about a 15-minute message to the president of Primary Global Research.
The people that got busted, though, were not the information providers. It was the people who traded on the information.
Yes, but so you know what? Those people who gave that information...
Not the prostitute who got... It's the same thing.
No, so those arrested were James Fleischman, a vice president
when he says John, he's using the metaphor of like a prostitute and a John. Who are the... He's not talking literally about John. He's talking about a John.
Right.
Who
Because he did the trade on the information, not the provider of the information, right? Am I right?
Well, I don't know in the metaphor who's who, but who's getting trouble? Who's in trouble?
So here are the people who are in trouble. James Fleischman, a vice president sales manager at Primary Global.
Okay, well, those are the people who...
That's the pimp.
Consultants, Walter Shamoon, a senior director of BizDev.
The pimp in this would be Primary Global Research.
That's who got busted.
Oh, Primary Global Research. Yeah, no, she's talking about like the person who works at Cisco or something.
No, he's the VP and sales manager at Primary Global.
Oh, okay. Well, that person should go to jail.
Yeah, and there's consultants, a senior director of business development at Flextronics in San Diego.
Okay, now that's the person.
John.
No, that's the person who's the prostitute.
Okay.
That's the prostitute who was whoring the information and themselves for gain to the John.
Go ahead.
Right, so there's
to the pimp. Primary Global.
And then Mark Anthony Longoria, a supply chain manager with AMD.
Whore.
Manosha Karunatalika, an account manager at Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing.
Prostitute.
And then Daniel DeVore, another consultant, former global supply manager at Dell.
So those are the prostitutes. Those are people who, I mean, if you have those titles, global supply manager or whatever, and you start giving information to somebody who trades stocks, I mean, isn't this what didn't somebody get arrested at Apple for this same thing? The guy who was taking bribes to get into the Apple store? The supply chain manager,
I remember a bribe,
something like that. Anyway,
and they was fired.
We're going crazy on this. Let's do one more story and we'll get out of here.
One more story. OpenFate has.
There is a lesson there for startups, though, in terms of ethical behavior at your company or whatever.
Right.
I don't think there's any of the. It's amazing that the technology industry really has a really good record, I think, of not succumbing to this and then the model.
This is straight up espionage.
But there are some startups who feel like they can cut some corners or whatever, and it never really tends to pan out. So it kind of lessens everybody there.
It generally does not pan out. And when you do something this illegal,
right?
I mean, what? It's just unbelievable that the arrogance that they thought they wouldn't get caught is also mind-boggling. Like, if you're in a meeting saying, my job, when somebody asks you what's your job, and you say, oh, my job is to get the supply chain manager from Flextronics to talk to a person who trades Flextronics stock and without their boss knowing, and without anybody knowing, and then I collect money from the person who trades stock, and I give half of that money to the person who works at Flextronics, and their boss at Flextronics doesn't know about it, and the public doesn't know about it, and but we tell them, and I'm sure they have some waiver that says, do not give any information that is proprietary, and they signed it. Well, what the F do you think they're on the phone for? What do you think that person's paying for?
Right.
Next, last story. Let's do that story. I mean, I'm going crazy here.
OpenFaint has taken the Groupon-style group buying craze and hoping that it will work for mobile games. The company offers software that developers can use to bolt a social network onto their mobile games, creating friend lists, leaderboards, multiplayer challenges, virtual goods, etc. With more than 50 million mobile game players on its network, they offer discounts to premium games normally priced somewhere between $1.99 to $9.99. When enough Game Channel users say they want a game, the price of the game drops. With so much happening in the world of apps and how excited people are about them, they collect them. I mean, what is the average number of apps per individual is like over 30 on their phone. Is 2011 the year of the app?
Is 2011 the year of the app? I am going to be a little counter on that. I think 2011 will be the year of HTML5 and the year that people start realizing which things should be apps and which shouldn't. Like Taylor Swift app, that is just a message board. Probably better to just go to her website. And why would you build it twice? So I think that for some things, people are going to stop making apps. For things that should have always been HTML, we'll send them to the website. However, for things like games and Angry Birds and Cut the Rope and Pandora and some of these other things, it's really, yeah, sure. I mean, there's going to be a large number of phones sold. Android is on fire. And the phones are only getting better, so sure. I mean, I think this past year was the year of the smartphone, so it only makes sense that maybe next year would be the year of the app or the iPad.
I'm just surprised that apps are not actually advertising to consumers directly at this point. Like, the only place that you can really look for an app is on the App Store.
Right, so what they're doing is there's a whole layer of folks doing all kinds of app SEO, and so they are buying installs. So what you can do is you can go to people like NGMoco or Zynga and say, hey, can I get 1,000 installs of the new Mahalo app? And they'll say, sure, for $1 each or $2 each. You say, great, I want 1,000 installs on this day. And they say, okay, everybody in Farmville today, or if you're in WeRule constantly is upselling you, download this app, open it up, and we will give you 500 more gold for your farm or mana. So what they do is they're trading the virtual currency for your behavior of opening the app. Doesn't mean I'm a user of the app, and I've done it a couple times. Then you spike to the top 25, and then there's other firms that were saying you can buy reviews from somebody who's done 25 reviews of other apps over the last year for $25 each. And they would sell you 100 reviews for $2,500, and they got caught. But that's what's going on. So you pay one person to get yourself on the top 25 downloads, and you pay another person to get a bunch of good reviews, and it's all a game going on. So it is, in a way, consumer, but they're just using some way of propelling yourself up into the top list. But yeah, why wouldn't they have a television commercial or a banner ad saying, get the new Pandora app or get this thing? It's probably because the acquisition cost on those would be greater than the profit of the 70 cents or $1.40 to buy the app. But you could see it on TV. Maybe if there's $10 apps, like, there's I think Call of Duty and some of those games are $10, or $5 on an iPad. So sure, I think you'll probably see
some of them are even hundreds of dollars.
They're very niche business ones. I think
I think there's a medical journal that's like $500.
Yeah, those would be sold by direct email. It's the video games that are the big possibility. And if you have Star Wars or something like Call of Duty, it's automatically going to get to the top thing. So it's almost like the freemium model seems to be the best practice. Put it out for free, and then upsell people on something. In-game purchases and that kind of stuff. They just came out with a Star Wars game that's totally free from NGMoco, and you pay to upgrade the armor and the gun and all that stuff. So I think that's the model that'll happen. Great job on the news.
Thank you.
Wow, what a great episode. I think people learned a lot about pitching, and we're going to continue to refine people's pitching technique as we go. And we'll see you. Thank you to DNA Mail, and thank you at MailSpy. Thanks to the technical team and producer Rob for doing a great job. The show was flawless. It's awesome. And thank you, Mailchimp and at DNA. And we'll see everybody on February 23rd and 24th at the launch conference in San Francisco. Peace out.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.